Good evening. It's Monday, February the 9th, 2026. This is Oz Tour, episode number 36. Let me bring in my co-host for the night, Mr. Schaefer. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Oh, man, it's going good. It's going good. As you know, and the people out there don't know, we've been trying to troubleshoot with Brett. And, well, we're getting more trouble than shooting, but we'll see what happens here. If he can't get in tonight, we'll just have to shoot for another time because we're definitely not letting him out that easy. So,
yeah, we need to have him on. It's important.
Yes, sir. So, did you get out and get any disc golf since the weather's changed for the better finally?
I finally have. I was able to get out this weekend. I went up to Kansas City and played a couple courses up there with my buddy Spencer. Hit DeSoto and the new redesigned Shawnee Mission Park, which was actually a lot better than it used to be. So that's kind of fun. What about you?
Well, I'm kind of slowly playing. I'm battling a little bit of a tennis elbow in my right elbow. It's pretty sore. It's hard to extend my hand. So, yeah, it kind of sucks. Throwing doesn't hurt too bad. Sidearms don't hurt too bad, but putting is an adventure. I'm just throwing it at the basket, hoping it goes in instead of trying to make it. So I'm trying to rehab it, and it feels better today than it has for the last 3 weeks, but the Millbrook Challenge broke me.
Man, I still never even gave that a shot. I'm gonna have to at some point.
I had a couple days where I played 4 or 5 rounds and got stuck. And Eric and I probably
what was the
most amount that anybody played through?
No. What was the most amount of throws that you took to finish a hole?
Oh, God. Lost count. 100 and some.
100 plus?
Yeah.
It's dedication.
Multiple times that happened. Multiple times. So, hey, let's talk some KDGA stuff. Brett just hopped in the background. We'll tackle that and see what happens. But, Jordan, we are 12 food drives in, and we've raised $13,375, the graphic says. We have 10 food drives remaining. So the goal of 30,000 is right there in front of us. We have a few big ones coming up that really could help make that mark attainable. And this Saturday we have both Mulvane and Salina. Craig is running Mulvane, and Joe and the Salina crew are running the Salina event there at Oakdale Park. Have you made it down there and played that one before?
I think I played that one last year. It was kind of fun. It's always fun to play on a course that's not always there.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea behind the food drive, is to try something new and different. And then Sunday, a couple more opportunities. We got Abilene and Hayes. So if you're not doing anything and you're in one of those areas, those neck of the woods, get on out there and play a food drive and raise some money for a charity of some sort. It's going to be, we've had a few new faces on the food drive this year. We had Emporia back on last weekend. We've had there was one other one I think that hadn't been. Oh, Garden City. They might have been on there before.
Yeah,
they use their new course. So, yep. So that's pretty cool. And then you know what, Jordan? We are not far from the start of the KDGA season.
It's crazy. I mean, it's right there. It's a few weeks away.
Yeah, less than a month. The kickoff events will all be on the 7th. Look for a Google form coming out from the TDs of this to you can let us know you're going to be there. Request your shirt size, I think, is one of the things Craig puts on there, and we will do our best to get everything boxed up and headed that way so we can knock out the majority of the membership packs there that first day. And then the first tournament of the year is the next day at Camp Hawk, March the 8th. So it's going to be pretty cool. I know
I'm excited.
The main guy there at Camp Hawk, Cass Miller, is going to come to the players meeting. He's never been out there before when we have the tournament. He's going to tell us all about the things that are going to happen at Camp Hawk over the next few months, and we'll see how that's taken by people. But you can go to Beloit, Hayes, Little River, Garden City, Salina, Manhattan, or Wichita and get a food drive in. You don't have to play the one in your area. You can play any of them you want. You just got to get there and play. You get your 10 KDGA points and chance to hang out with some people and play some disc golf. So which one are you going to hit?
I don't know. Haven't decided. Probably be Little River or Wichita.
Mm-hmm. Well, I get to hit the Wichita.
I know I hit Little River last year. So
go ahead.
Sorry. What about the Wichita one?
I get to play that one because I get to run it by default. I tried to get somebody to do it, and lo and behold, nobody would do it. So your boy's going to do her. So, all right, dude.
Right, I guess.
Well, fingers crossed. Let's bring the man of the hour in here. We'll see how this goes. So hopefully, I'm really hoping it works. So adding him, I'm moving us. Oh, what in the heck? Get that off of there. Let's see. We want. Nope. There we go. Hey, Brett.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You can hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we're good. Whatever you did is working.
Perfect.
came through in the clutch and made it happen. So
yeah, I just switched it on over to my iPad, and so far so good. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we don't have any more issues. So thanks for having me on, guys. How we doing?
Good. Well, before we get into actual Oz talk, why don't you take just a minute, no disc golf talk here, and just let everybody know a little bit about who is Brett Straight, where can they see you at? Just let them know about you a little bit.
All right. Well, I'm a 1974 model. I've got high miles, all original parts. I like long walks on the beach, romantic Dr. Seuss, and I've just started pole dancing. So I'm just kidding.
This isn't a dating site, but hey, what are you doing next Monday?
I'm a little bit of the jack of all trades, and again, the audio is cutting out on me a little bit here, but I've played a lot of roles in my life. When I was younger, I played music and pursued a career in music, and we'd relocated from Hayes down to Fort Worth, Texas. And the band I was playing in was called Grin. We'd signed a independent record contract with Last Beat Records out of Deep Ellum, Texas. We put out one album, and then my daughter was born, and that got put on hold for about 10 years before I got back into music. But fortunately, at that time, that's when I moved back to Hayes and started grad school at Fort Hays State University. Got involved with disc golf again, and that's kind of where the story would probably begin at this point with us.
Yeah. I'm sure that I think we've probably talked about this before, but you and I were actually at Fort Hays at the same time in 93 through 96, I believe, or at least you were driving around in that stupid Jeep all over the place.
I like the color red, but I graduated from Hayes High in 93, and then I started going to Fort Hays. So my freshman year at Fort Hays would have been the fall of 93. So it's ironic that you remember me, and I just don't know if our paths ever crossed or what the deal was, but either on campus or at the disc golf course for sure, right?
Yeah, well, I was too busy running all over Hayes, and believe it or not, your crew was probably pretty cool, and I was with a bunch of nerds. So I'm guessing no, they didn't cross.
Yeah.
So, well, all right. Well, Jordan, you know how it starts. I don't know if I want to put you on the spot, but we always do.
3 from the tee.
3 from the tee.
All right.
Okay, Brett. Ronnie normally is here. By the way, everybody, Ronnie is somewhere between Wichita and Hawaii for a work trip. Sucks to be him. So, all right, here we go.
All right, Brett. Do you remember your first disc, and do you still have it?
I do remember my first disc, and no, I don't have it. Growing up in Hays, Kansas, I was really fortunate that in 1983, our church was having a family a family picnic down at the Frontier Park. They were always big into playing volleyball, and so they were playing volleyball. And as a kid, I just kind of ventured off and was checking out the park. And right where the dam is by the swinging bridge, I happened to see something floating in the water, and I made my way down there and dug it out of the creek, and it was an F-15 Eagle is what I had. So I don't still have it, but I do have one that was from that same era. So I don't know if you can see this really well. It's faded on the front, but I believe this is a Lightning P38. And what's really cool about this is I don't know if you can see this on the back, if you'll see it in reverse, but that's AA Sporting Good in the mall, and they had a downtown location too.
Collector's item, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I'll bet you there's a lot of people in Hays who get their initial start, their initial disc by finding one washed up on the bank or
right.
getting
And
it out.
that F-15 Eagle was a floater. So that made it a lot easier for me to be able to get it out.
That's awesome. Love it.
Nice from Walmart in Hays. So, yeah, I'm sure that disc went back in the creek a few times.
Yeah.
And yeah. All right, here we go. Number 2.
All right, number 2. It's you and 4 others. Who is on your dream card?
Boy, I tell you what, I thought about this one hard because there's so many awesome people that I've met over the course of my time. But I'm going to have to go back to kind of my grassroots to where when we finally got to the level that we were playing competitively with each other, because when we started at Frontier, there was par 4 for amateurs and par 3 for pros. And so we got to the point where we were shooting a 16 under on AM par, and it was like, well, wouldn't it make more sense to like keep track of like 2 over on pro par? So this would have been between like 1995 and 1996. And some of the guys that I'm blessed to still be able to play with and see on a regular basis would be some guys I met in college, Darren Volchek, Cade Garles, who actually happens to be the PDGA state coordinator right now, Kirk Ficken, and then Kelly Willis Williams would be the dream card there. So, and ironically, Cade just moved back to the area. Volchek's here. I'm here. Ficken's been, his family had some issues with the farm, and he's been working out there pretty much 7 days a week. But I believe in about 30 days, he's going to be back in the disc golf scene. So looking forward to getting to throw some disc with one of my homies from back in the day.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's a good crew, man. You could probably invite Willis, and he could come back for a day from Colorado.
You know, like I said, it's such a tough question because I think about it with all the people that I know that play music, and you know my fondness of Randy Brown and his album that he put out, and so there's so many people to be able to think about, but that's where there was a summer of '97 when I took off work and was just getting ready for my senior year in college, and we had a lot of fun out there at the Frontier Open Disc Golf Course.
Yeah, I imagine you did. Hey, did you putt for a beer from the top of the bridge into 16?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It may have been for a bourbon or something like that, but there was definitely some alcohol that was involved. And I don't know if you remember this, but on hole 4, the pavilion that's there is now turned to where it's east and west, but it used to be where it was north and south. And so we'd also play that if you made it through the pavilion, like a quadruple Mando, that it was a bourbon or a beer.
Nice. Did you know that was the site of my first ace hole
I
4?
do. I remember you talking about that. Absolutely.
Looking at that pine tree there, short of that pavilion now,
Oh, yeah.
I can't. I mean, that thing. I remember it clear as day. That thing just went right over the top of that pine tree, right over the top of that pavilion, and just straight in. Tyler Shookman was so pissed at me.
Yeah, I hit a hole in one with the Spitfire on that one as well. So the old Spitfire,
man, and that's one of the original holes on the course.
Yeah.
From way back in the day when we had Ron on, I couldn't believe that. So, all right, here we go.
Last one. What is your favorite disc golf memory?
Yeah, well, so I'm going to have to pull out the visual aid here just to make sure I get the date right, and I'll show it to you here. But there was 2006 on the KDGA tour. I was up in Beloit, Kansas for the Kansas Disc Golf Championships. I was playing absolutely terrible. I believe this is when we played 4 rounds. I could be wrong, but I was what they call DFL, dead last. So I didn't really have much to play for, but I was part of the Ace Fund. And we got around to hole number 6, and I ripped my Avenger off the tee box, which I probably should have thrown a mid-range, but I hit nothing but chains. And this is why you never walk away and quit playing an event. You always finish, because I had a $521 ace.
It was 15, not 6.
I'm sorry?
Hole 15.
Let's see. Yeah, you're right. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I remember it.
I got 2 aces. I got 2 aces with this disc, and it was within 10 days. But yeah, it was hole 15 in Beloit, and it was hole 6, the alt to alt in Hayes. But yeah, it was $521 because Mace was even on the card in front of me. And when we hit the ace and we're high-fiving and celebrating, he walks over to me and he's like, "Are you a KDGA member?" I said, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Were you in the tournament fund?" I said, "Yes, sir." And so yeah, together it was $521 payout. So that's one of my best memories as far as the KDGA goes. But there's so many awesome memories that I have over the years just being involved with the KDGA. But of course, when I spent time down in Fort Worth, I got to hang out with the other Mace man. So I got to know Brian while I was living down there, and Zebos and veterans. And so I've had a fascinating, time in the disc golf communities, in both places that I've lived.
Now, yeah, and those Mace brothers are a lot alike, but a lot of different too.
Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. Both great dudes. Both
yeah, absolutely.
As soon as you said Beloit, I knew exactly where you were going. I was counting backwards to the hole. It's the hole right after the tennis court.
Yep.
Goes over the road twice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it going in there.
Yeah, and so I was trying to look to see who all signed the disc. And Brad Roeder, or was it Raider?
Roeder.
Okay, mm-hmm. From Wichita. And then there was 2 brothers from Emporia. Nate, and God bless, Nate Mack.
Oh, McDonald.
Yeah. Nate, and then he had a brother, and I can't remember what his brother's
Nate
name, but I can't.
And dang. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
So, but yeah, that's one of my favorite memories from back in the day.
The good old days.
That's awesome.
So, all right, I want to get into some stuff here. You come back from Fort Worth, and the Frontier Open is struggling, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's bad. There's a couple years, I think, where we had maybe 45 to 50 people, pretty small turnouts, nothing like it is now. And you took it over, and we're a driving force to get it to what is now probably even beyond where you imagined, and everybody's favorite event to go to. Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I mean, growing up in Hayes, like I said, I mean, I picked up a disc literally the same year that the course was installed. So it always been something that I'd found pride and heritage in regards to, being able to play disc golf. And of course, back then we called it Frisbee golf. But I, was active in school and playing music. And so I moved in 98. And at that time, I believe that Ron was still running the tournament. And by the time that I came back in 2001 to start grad school, he'd stopped, and he really didn't have anything to do with disc golf. So Chad Garrison, Joe Hesting, Dusty Ream, Willis was back at that time, and just started having conversations in regards to what was going on. And I don't remember, I think I was down in Texas for the 18th annual. But for the 19th annual, I got to communicating with Mace, and I was like, hey, I'd like to try to be able to get some sponsors to see if we can start bringing this back a little bit. And I actually have a copy here from the 19th annual Frontier Open, little thing that Mace had put together. But just to look at some of the sponsors that we had here, Sip and Spin, still with us today. White Chocolate, you remember White Chocolate?
Yeah, yep. Rod was my main man.
Yep. And then there was Sykes, which they're no longer around. Commercial Signs of Hayes, Taco Shop, Lamato's Pizza, Sportsman Supply, which they're not around anymore. Ryder Construction, they're still around. Discs Unlimited, Boss Motorsports, Walmart. Main Street Liquor, which they're not around anymore. Kel Dog Watson, which was one of Mace's sponsors, I think, there.
Kel Dog was from Colorado via Arkansas.
Yeah. And then the Golden Q, still a sponsor that's with the Frontier Open these days. And then the Fort Hays Communications Club came out and helped us with a little bit. There was a pet store called Exotic Aquatics, and then Munchie's Liquor, which is now, Munchie's. I think he had two. There was one down on now is 8th Street Liquor, and the other one's Nate's Liquor. But what happened was I just, I didn't know anything about being a tournament director. And so I just wanted to try to help Mace out to be able to see if we could get this event back up to the standard that it was. And I believe at the 19th annual, we ended up getting back to 78 participants. So it was only a matter of time, like between the 20th and the 21st, that we finally got back up to like 90 players, 100 players in that era. And so once we hit that point, we were like, well, what do we do next? We don't have enough holes. And so that's when we we set up like 6 temporary holes, and we called them, for not to confuse people, the A, B, C, D, E, F hole. And we set it up, and then we did 3 rounds of 24 holes, which has still got you to like a total of 72 holes for the tournament. And I think you had a big role in this, was that you talked to me and you were like, hey, it's great that Mace is running the tournament, but it would benefit the club and the community a little bit more if there was somebody locally that was running it. Plus, if you did payout and you had your own disc, that you're going to generate a little bit of revenue to be able to work with for what other events that you run in the community. So we went that direction, and I took over the tournament. I believe the first one, and here behind me, I don't know if you can see this, but after I decided that my last year was up with the Frontier Open, Ethan made this awesome little plaque that's got, we always did custom artwork. And so the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, then I went back down to Texas, came back, and then the 33rd, 34th, 35th, 36th, 37th, and 38th. And then my 39th was the last year that I did that. But in that period of time, there was this guy named Doug Bjerkes that comes out from Colorado, and I think his first tournament was the 23rd. And I think he came out with Hunter, and I think that he came out with Paige that year. Paige ends up winning the tournament or whatnot. So I met so many people that went on to do great things with the PDGA. 2006, meet, Jeremy Rusko. But just as far as like circling back to the tournament goes, it eventually got to the point where we'd filled 120 players with the 24-hole format. Now, during this time, I'd moved back down to Fort Worth. Jeremy Rusko and Dynamic Discs come in, and they start taking over the tournament because there was nobody local. Scott Haynes ran the tournament for 1 year for the 26th. And then basically he handed over to Rusko. And this was when Rusko was still, building things up a little bit. And I think that he had the Dirty Dozen tour that he was doing that year. So part of that was the Frontier Open. And then I'm not sure what the time frame was because I was back down in Fort Worth, but you came up with the idea of being able to create 18 holes on the East and 18 holes on the West, which would allow us to expand from 120 players up to potentially 180. And once we did that, I don't think that it was until 2019 or 2018 that we actually got to 180 players. But since then, it's been something that's, every year it's been filled out. And I remember you talking one year at one of the acceptance speeches, because I don't remember how many times you've won the Frontier Open, but I believe that you made some sort of a comment along the lines of this isn't just a tournament, it's an event. And that really meant a lot to me because I took a lot of pride in being from Hayes and what the Flying Bison Disc Golf Club was about, and what the course represented, the first 18-hole disc golf course in the state of Kansas. But in my early days too, I was really interested in trying to find out the chronology of disc golf courses. And I believe if the KDGA website's still up, that you'll find a thread in there where I was trying to find out all that information. And what I found was Lindsborg was the first 9-hole course, Crestview was the second 9-hole course, and then Waukene, Kansas, of all places, was the third. And then the first 18-hole disc golf course was the Flying Bison Disc Golf Course in Hayes at Frontier Park.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that I missed out, there's so much that we could talk about. But
have you met Rich Smith?
Rich Smith with the he's the one. I haven't met him, but I believe he's contacted me on Facebook.
Yeah, he has a chronological order of courses, and it's fairly similar to yours. I mean, it's all hearsay, way back when they're first planting them in the ground. It was, I think that's what they did over there. And
well, that was the thing. Like I'd contact even the Hayes Parks Department because when I was working on my master's degree, it was in public relations and advertising. And so for my graduate project, I actually had to put together like a mock campaign. So I wanted to do some history on the disc golf course. And I remember going in and talking to Jeff Boyle down at the Parks Department, asked him, all these questions, and I don't know. And finally he gets on the radio and says, "Hey, Ron, I need you to come to the office for a little bit." And he brought Ron into the office, and Ron was able to answer all my questions, but it just wasn't anything that was well documented back then. Hey, we put in a disc golf course, but there wasn't like a file that they kept records of really well. So it's all based upon memory. And as I've discovered, as I get older, it doesn't, you don't retain things as well as you used to.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Rich uses that order. I've seen it pop up a couple of times and had some discussions with him. So you'd love that guy, man. You and him and could really talk. And the other one is Madison, Chris Madison. I don't know if you know him, but was
that Salina?
He's from Hutch. He's a true disc golf or Frisbee historian. So,
okay.
Yeah. All right. So you brought up a name that I know I love, Ron Rice. When did you first meet Ron Rice?
Well, it's funny. Like, when I found that disc, and then a couple times a year, I'd have Mom take me down there. My brother and I would like throw and then run and then throw and run. And that's how we played it. Sometime in the 80s, I remember getting down there, and there was like a group of people standing on a hole right around hole one. And like my brother and I were very respectful, and we just kind of stood and waited. And they could tell that we were getting there to throw disc golf. And they're like, "Oh, we're waiting on somebody. You guys go right ahead." And so we got up there, and I think my brother threw first, and then I threw. And after both of us threw, we heard these kind, encouraging words coming from this long-haired, hippie kind of looking guy that's a great throw. Good job. Keep playing, So that was my first impression of him, but I didn't know his name. I didn't know who he was. But all these years later, when I connected the dots, and I was like, that was Ron Rice that said that to me. So, and then it wasn't until I'd gone in and was doing the interview, trying to find out the history of disc golf, that I got to get reacquainted with Ron. And we've been there for a long time, and I'm not sure what happened for sure, but Ron wouldn't play for a long time. And I always tried to get him to come back out and play. And I think it was around the 33rd or the 34th that he came out and played. And then a couple years later that Karen came out and played. And that just brought peace to my heart for a lot of reasons. Because, you know, people get away from the sport for lots of various reasons, most of them being injuries. But it's easy to get burned out. And he and Karen ran that tournament for basically, if you include the inaugural event, 16 years. You know, I've got 11 under my belt, and I was like, that's enough for me.
Yeah. I had always heard the name Ron Rice, and I had no idea who he was, or I'd always heard he was a really nice dude, but I never knew it. And then, like you said, he stopped playing disc golf altogether. And I was at a tournament, and I look at the scores, and Ron Rice, I'm like, no. And it was him. And yeah. And then, you know, I just kind of watched from a distance. I can kind of be a handful at times. And I knew that Ron was a pretty reserved individual. So I just kind of watched from a distance and watched him. But then, you know, the last few years I've got to know him and Karen a little bit. And man, you are not going to find two better human beings than those two people.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, and that was what was super cool about like you having Disc and Deals coverage come out and be able to record that first round with, you know, three of the originals that were there from the very beginning. And I hope that I age as gracefully as they do.
Well, you're going to be a little hairier. So let's talk about that. When's the last time you saw the chin? I know the answer.
Oh, yeah.
But anybody watching may not.
So the last time that I saw my chin was right after I graduated with my undergraduate degree from Fort Hays. So that would have been May of 1998. So, yeah, it's been a little bit.
Shortly after I was born.
Not the first time I've heard that, Jordan.
And then there we go. Getting some good stuff. There was a time where you maybe pranked your kid about the old beard, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So I was doing some remodeling work at the house and in Fort Worth, and I tore up the carpet and there was just a mess. And so I was scraping the concrete and concrete dust in my hair and in my beard. So when I took a shower, I just took a big handful of conditioner and got my hair and the beard all slicked out. And it was so fine that I could actually run my fingers through it. And it split right down the middle. And so I pulled it and put it behind my hair in a ponytail and then combed my hair over the top. And I told Jessica, I walked back and I knocked on her room and she said, "Come in, Dad." And I walked in. I was like, "Well, what do you think?" I trimmed the beard up and it looked like it was about this long. And her eyes got real big. And then she started crying. She said, "Dad, what did you do?" And I was like, "Oh, it's still here. It's still here." But yeah. So yeah, there was a time that I pulled a trick on her, and social media back in the day, you know, that was just kind of the fun stuff that you do. And after I'd pulled a prank on her, then I shared it with my friends and took some pictures and had a moment of silence for my beard and we will rebeard. But it never actually happened. But yeah, that was like a pretty good April Fool's joke back in the day.
For sure.
But
for sure.
I've got a couple other things. I don't know how much time we have, but
you got as much time as you want.
Yeah. So I still have a pretty decent copy of the 20th annual Frontier Open. And you know, this is when we first started kind of doing color. But this was the one item that I thought was super cool. And for those that are disc golf nerds, there was a guy named Greg Hosfeld that used to write an article called The Front Nine and the Back Nine. And Greg was apparently a touring pro with the PDGA. And so he'd write an article called The Front Nine, which were courses that he'd recommend to play. And then he'd write the Back Nine, which were courses that he had some criticism to be able to share. And so this is just a photocopy that Ron was able to give me. But if you look, let's see. right there. And I don't know if you guys can see this or it's backwards, but Frontier Park. And I'll read it to you, see what it says. But we were number 7 on the front 9. It says, Frontier Park, Hays, Kansas. Normally, I'm not one for object courses, but this is one not to be missed. There are specially designed painted rock tee signs with bag hangers. There are some big boomers and a few shorter ones. Testers, all. After all, if you're in Hays, you're not likely to find a better time. And then what was ironic was in that same on the back 9, and I won't read this, but I'll just show you a picture and see if you can recognize where it's at.
Pratt.
That's actually Harrington.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. And then Ron gave me a scorecard that he had from like one of the first Frontier Opens as well, which I thought that was pretty cool. Isn't that something? Like, there's no such thing as paper scorecards almost anymore.
It's ridiculous.
And as a TD, it's like one of the best blessings you've ever had.
You're absolutely right. I'd love to have the hours that I've spent adding scorecards and rearranging score points and
having people hanging over your shoulder.
Oh, that guy. That guy.
We all know that guy.
I used to say I was the fastest in the world at adding scorecards because I would give them to Kendi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't miss that at all. But you're right.
No.
And the cool thing is you can go back however long we've been doing this online and you can see your scores from whatever tournament you played 4, 5, 6 years ago. That's incredible. That's in 20 years, 25 years, when you can go back and look, that's going to be nuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we can't even figure out what the first disc golf course was for real.
Right. Yeah. So I've got a couple other discs that I'll share with you here too that these have never see any time actually out on the course, but the 25th annual, this was something that was really cool. Got Ron Rice on there, Brandon, myself, and then Chris Glassman, who's one of the graphics designer at Casual Graphics in Hays, Kansas. Like he's been so wonderful to work with. I remember for the 20th annual, he donated all of his expenses because he thought that he was going to be able to write it off, and then to come find out that you couldn't write off labor. So that was really a unexpected little twist that happened. And again, learning experience, something that I'd never done, but it was super cool. He was the one that did the artwork, which basically, if you can't see it, it's because it's reflective there a little bit, but there's like a little astronaut, a disc golf basket in the back, and then the flying saucer kind of concept scenario that was going there. Speaking of the story that I'll piggyback off of that as well, with my daughter, there was a viral post that had happened. I want to say it was 2014. I can't remember specifically, but being a father, you spot check your daughter's phone, see what's going on. And there was a young man that had requested to see a picture of her wearing her bra. And I got a little worked up, kind of flexed my dad muscles a little bit. And I talked to my ex and asked her if she had a bra that I could borrow. And she was like, what the hell? So we did a little photo shoot. And then years later, I thought it'd be fun just because I wanted to be able to give some, disc back to the community or whatnot. So I had 100 of these made and have given them out. I've got a handful of them left, but that's me rocking the old dad bod there. So PDGA number 23234. Yes, I was a viral meme at one point.
I remember that. I remember exactly when that happened.
Yeah, and what's funny is that Jessica was not happy about that at all. I remember her going back to her room and slamming the door and, Dad, why would you do that? And then it couldn't have been 20 minutes later. And it literally went viral so fast. She came back out. She's like, Dad, you're on iFunny. And then she'd come back out and be like, Dad, you're on Men's Health and Fitness. And she was keeping track of all the different websites that were sharing my posts. So that was funny.
Did you ever get to meet the young man in person?
It's funny because I got to thinking about it after we took the picture that I was like, it's probably not a good idea to send it to him. I don't want to feel like I'm threatening or anything like that. But it didn't stop my ex from sending it to him. And we never heard from him ever again. So
mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished, you bet. And then, every now and then I come up with a great idea that I think is going to take off and it's going to be awesome. And then it doesn't work out the way that I intended to. But a couple years ago when I was working for Defiance Brewing Company, I thought that it'd be fun. There were so many people I met in the brewing industry that actually played disc golf that I thought, hey, this would be a cool idea to do a beer festival and coincide it with like a disc golf tournament of some sort, and maybe have a little competition amongst the brewers to be able to like have a traveling trophy. And we had the event and the brewers had an absolute blast, but we didn't really have the participation as far as like people coming out to want to sample craft beers. And I think that there was some confusion whether it was a beer festival or was it a disc golf tournament or a little bit of both. But I had contacted Jeremy Rusko, and if you know Rusko, he was a big craft beer fan as well, and he donated some discs. And so we had a little timeline that was and this is the original artwork that's down at the sign there in Frontier Park. But what if you go around, this is Ron Rice's time running the tournament, and so it has all the people that have ran the Frontier Open Disc Golf Tournament up until Ethan. And so, Ron Rice is on here. I'm on here. Chad Garrison ran the 18th. Brandon Mace ran the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. Then I'm on here. Scott Haynes is on here for a year. Rusko's on here for, well, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on me. I can't remember. But there was a year that Doug Bjerkes actually won it. And so we were able to ship this around the United States where everybody was at and get everybody's signature on these discs. So we had about 50 of those that he made. And that one's fun. And then this year, they surprised me. I remember coming down. It breaks my heart every time I come down there and I see that the Parks Department's taking out all these trees. And I remember walking into one of our Flying Bison meetings, and I said, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, which you seem to be hacking as fast as you please. And they surprised me, and they had these little mini buzzes made and a little caricature of me, which I don't have. I usually only wear the beard braids beard ties when I'm out on the course because the wind will split it right down the middle. But that one was pretty cool too. So in a nutshell, man, that, like I said, there's so many stories that I could talk to you about. I remember I saw you made the post that you're back on Team Dynamic again this year. And I remember being down there at Zebo's when you made your first Final Nine. And I don't remember everybody's name, but I remember your partner made a big putt and you guys took, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 skins, but I was like, yeah, I know that guy.
Burl, Terry Burlogger.
That's right. Burl. Yeah.
Man, that was so much fun and crazy. And I don't know if you remember or not, but the whole time we're like hanging around there and waiting to start the skins and do the payout and whatever. There was this kid that was just at this basket, just putting and putting and putting and putting and putting and never missing and putting and putting. Do you remember that kid at all?
Not off the top of my head, but if you say his name, was that Nico?
Oh, yeah. Nico LaCastro.
Nico. Yeah.
A little kid. He's probably, I say little bitty kid. He's probably 14 or 15, I would guess.
Yeah, I do remember because I played around with him because I think that was the year that they had a round at Zebo's, and then they also had a course out in Weatherford that they were using. And so I had to play the course out in Weatherford, and I'm pretty sure that I played around with him. I just remember this big afro-haired kid and the wind down there and whatnot. But, yeah, I remember that as well. So, I don't remember him putting at that basket, but it wouldn't surprise me because he was.
I do. He never quit. He never quit. It was ridiculous.
Well, and then I remember there was a time that you, the Dirty Dozen tour came down to Burleson, Texas. The Bob Robertson.
It's Crowley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Crowley. My bad. Yeah. And I remember you all bringing the RV down there, and I met up with you guys down there. And was it Robin? Was that her name?
It might have been Robin Robertson. I don't remember her first name, but
well, I just remember her house was like right on the course. Like you could walk out the back door, and she opened up her house to anybody that wanted to stay, and it was
crazy.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, crazy. Though. Yeah, that was Bob's widow.
Yep.
The guy the tournament was for, and his son Sean played, and yeah, I mean, it meant the world to her for us to all be there celebrating. I didn't even know Bob Robertson, but we'd go there and celebrate and just have a great time. And yeah, one time we had a great time over it was Robin Robertson's house, and then we left. We didn't stay the night. We headed back. We made Jake drive the whole way home. Oh gosh. Yeah. And then the RV wouldn't go in reverse. It would only go forward. So we had to be careful where we parked.
Pop into neutral. Everybody's pushing.
we just didn't get that far.
Yeah.
Man, that was fun. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I feel Father Time every day that I roll out of bed is catching up with me.
Little bit. So, Jordan, you got anything you're itching to know about Brett?
Nothing's coming to mind right now.
We're
going to see you out playing disc golf this year anywhere?
Well, we've got our food drive this weekend, so I'll probably make an appearance there. I've been spending a lot of time working out and getting myself in a little bit better physical condition. I've taken off about 20 pounds. I'm hoping so, but you never know for sure, man. It's fun to come out and hang out and get to see everybody. But unfortunately, when you're playing a tournament, you only maybe get to hang out with 4 people on the card or whatnot. But I'm thinking that I'm going to try to put Beloit on the radar this year and come out and just have some fun in the Kansas State Disc Golf Championship again. I mean, Chautauqua Park, free camping, the swimming pool, the barbecue. You get your money's worth in that weekend, you know. It just sucks that it's camping in July.
Yeah, they got free hot boy showers out there, though. Yeah. So, yeah, I've had some of my greatest memories are at that park. Yeah. Watching Mace fall down on his face was awesome.
I remember there was a year that they were playing like bocce disc.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody's ever seen me angry before.
I have. You were mad.
We were leaning on the back of the trunk of my car, drinking a couple beers, talking, and these guys like threw into us and they hit Scott in the eye. Lucky it didn't hit him in the eye. And I blew up and walked into a group of probably 8-9 guys and was like, "Who threw that?"
Oh, I remember.
And I remember a young lady coming over, taking my hand and saying, "Brett, would you walk with me for a minute? You're scaring people." And I was like, "I'm sorry, but I get a little defensive sometimes." So, but yeah, I remember that. And I remember a big explosion at one of the tournaments there too, you know. Think somebody may have spent a little time in jail that night. We won't mention any names, but
well, they got in trouble. I don't know if there's any jail. But...
Yeah.
So he's a slow learner because he got in trouble again for it. Yep.
Was that a starting blast?
No, dude. This is like when everybody's finally settling down, slowing down, going to sleep, and just like the whole town of Beloit heard it, and
yeah, rattled the whole town.
Yeah, it didn't take the cops too long to get down there and see what was going on.
Yep. So, I remember that as well.
And Mace had to rat him out.
But I remember, and I just remember when I first got involved in the KDGA, there used to be, they'd coordinate to where like Colby and Norton would be on the same weekend. And so you could make your way out to Norton and then make your way out to Colby. I remember coming down to Ransom. I won't forget like the time that Chad Garrison left his disc golf bag in Hayes and so was borrowing discs from everybody. Somebody had a spare bag, and then he came out and won the tournament with everybody else's discs besides his own. There was a fun time, and this was one of my favorite highlights, was when Scott Reek was still involved with the KDGA in the early years. I think he was pretty much the main contact guy for the KDGA. He did a tournament out in Stockton, Kansas, and Stockton still has the tire baskets. And I think there was only 12 holes, and we did 24 holes consecutively for like the tournament. And then the second round, he did skin play. And so you were matched up for the last 12 by your score, not your division. And I remember playing against you, Randy Mattingly, and Chad Garrison for skins. And here I am, the advanced guy, but I had a soft magnet putter that was just sticking really well on those tire baskets. I don't remember which hole it was, but we get around to this hole and you guys had pushed like 6 or 7 skins. And you threw OB, Randy threw OB, Chad threw OB. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play smart. And I just laid up, took my 3, and I like got skins against you guys. And I was like, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
I'll bet we were all real happy. No, but I'll bet we were happy.
We were not happy at all.
No, I do remember going to Stockton a few times and playing. It was
well, and there was a tornado that came in right when we got done doing the awards ceremony. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do.
The winds picked up and got crazy.
Yeah, Zachary Schweitzer and Bryce Klitsky, 2 Ransom kids, were there with me that year when that happened. I think they were probably just finished their senior year, and we went down there. But
okay,
yeah. Yep. And, you know, I wish all those little spots, those little towns would still be on the Oz tour and give people a reason to go to them. But, man, there's just so many tournaments now and so many places that it's nearly impossible to say, well, we're doing this tournament this week. I don't care about that tournament. I'm doing this one.
Yeah, and I was trying to think back in the early days, like even when I got involved, and I know the KDGA has been around a lot longer than I have, but maybe it was 12 to 20 tournaments any given year for the most part. So it made it a lot easier to be able to like, you know, be like, oh, okay, well, we're going to go do this weekend and going to go to play this tournament this weekend. But boy, I tell you what, I kind of look at it and, you know, I'm sure it was just the time of age and everybody, you know, has that era that they go through, but it was the golden age. There was just so many fun people. I truly am blessed. I've rubbed elbows with some really cool people. You've gone on and won a championship. There was this guy from Oklahoma that I remember in Norton one time. You were like, keep him up as late as you can.
Didn't help.
So, mission accomplished. We kept him up till like 4 or 4:30 in the morning. He still came out and shot like a 15 down the next day.
Oh, yeah.
But so you see Ron Converse to go on and win 3 championships. Kevin Babbitt go on to win. Was he 2-time now? Yeah. So I mean, it's just cool, and to see different people go on to be able to start their own vending. You know, Heisernauts. My friend Joe Morrison started Black Ace, and Cade Garles has Flight Path, and so it's cool. But it's like, how do you support everybody? You know.
Right.
But yeah, I look at it as a golden time. I was in the right place at the right time, and I met some amazing people, you know, and I'm truly blessed with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I say it all the time. I've met all my best friends from disc golf. So, and, you know, friends that are more than just disc golf buddies. Like, storms coming in last 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and Mace Man's out here in my driveway helping me build a gate. I mean, I've probably played 2 rounds of disc golf with Mace in the last 2 years. He just, you know, doesn't get out and play, but he's always there for me. So
right. Yeah. Yep. I feel the same way.
So
yeah. Well, Kate had moved back a couple of weeks ago, and we were helping him get everything unloaded. And I tell you what, moving people and moving furniture at the age of 50, boy, my body hurt for a couple of days. But and that's even being in better shape than I've been in for 10 years. But still, woo, Father Time is catching up with us.
Is Cade going to try to keep his disc golf did he have an actual brick and mortar shop, or was he just like a vendor?
I think he
in
was
Kansas
more
City?
of a vendor. I don't think that he had a brick and mortar place. He just had his trailer, and he'd kind of come around and get things set up. So, but I think we might see a few more events out here in Western Kansas with him being back this way.
Yeah, good.
And I know that I got him in touch with Smokey from Ransom because his grandmother grew up somewhere between like Ness City and Ransom out on a farm out there somewhere. And so he has kind of ties to Ransom, and he really wants to get that one back up and going. So
the pimping the holes, baby.
Pimping the holes, man.
He's got my blessing.
What was the name of the little bar and grill there at the time?
The Longhorn.
The Longhorn. Yeah. And didn't he have a brother that was like the coach at TCU or something? Or am I thinking of something else? No. The owner of the bar and grill.
Oh, those people probably did. There was a kid that was the same age as Stacy, who was a coach at TCU for a while. I don't know where he's at now, but I don't know I don't even know if that bar is still going, but dang, dude. I used to, every year I'd be like, if I don't get 27 people, this is the last year. And somebody would show up right at the last minute, 27 people. If I don't get 27. But man, that was so much fun. If he does it, he's got to bring back all those old holes, man. The world's greatest tunnel shot, the cement pond, the long and skinny.
Well, we brought it back a couple of years ago, and we're trying to do it in April, and it was fun. But like the world's greatest tunnel shot, like those trees have caught some diseases. And so there's some that have come down, and so it's not as tight as it used to be. But that long and skinny, anytime that there's wind, God bless. And that was what was funny when I was watching the commentary that you guys did for the Frontier Open and watching Kevin Babbitt and all these young guys. And the hole that played right along Elm Street, and Kevin's got the box, and he just throws, I think it was a rock, just right up the fairway. And then I watched the next four go OB, 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 OB. And I was like, that's smart man golf right there, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
But that hole kind of reminds me a little bit
of the long and skinny.
Yeah.
It's only about half as long and twice as fat.
That's true.
Man, that hole was hard. That hole was so hard. So I know that's where I learned hog nose. I added up a circle 11, and Mace goes, "That's a hog nose." So I kept that.
Well, shoot, I remember going and playing the Glass Blown Open when McCabe and Gabe were running it. And I want to say, was it hole 17 that went uphill with like tall grass on the left and evergreens right in the middle? And so, of course, so, I love to throw the thumber, and this is when the 2-meter rule was still in effect. And I took a triple circle hog nose, I guess, on that hole. Yeah. Well, now that the 2 meters not in effect anymore, it probably wouldn't have been that bad. But at the time, I was like, "Oh my Lord, I'm licking my wounds here."
Surely you don't still throw thumbers, do you?
I still throw thumbers. I threw one just let's see, we got out and played on. We got out and played yesterday.
Loosen that dog up.
Oh, I'm telling you, old Converse said the man with the golden shoulder.
That's just a shot you don't even see that much anymore.
Yeah.
It used to be commonplace at a tournament. You'd just see person after person doing it.
Yeah. And, there was a lot of different discs that I used throughout the course of time throwing thumbers, but somebody gave me a flick, and I tried thumber and a flick, and like I could release it at almost a 50 degree and it would still fly like at a 45 degree angle, but I'd get about another 50 to 75 feet worth of distance out of it. And I'm sure there'll be a time that I stop throwing it, but I've still got that shot in my arsenal if I need it.
I throw 2 a year. both at Harrington.
The Rock.
Oh, I probably did throw one at the Rock. I threw one at the Slope too. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, dude. Well, we're right at an hour. I I appreciate you coming on, Brett. That was fun.
Of course, man. I appreciate you guys having me here, man. And I wish the KDGA nothing but the best success. And hopefully, you know, I mean, it's an organization that's run on a lot of volunteers, man. And Smitty, I mean, you have given blood, sweat, tears, and years of your life to the KDGA, and it wouldn't be what it is today without you, man. So thank you.
Thanks, man.
For being that dedicated to it.
Yeah, you bet. Mason and I, we have this conversation often, like when we're in the basement.
Yeah, the
fighting
audio starting to cut out a little bit on me here, so I apologize about that.
Well, I was gonna say Mason and I have this argument a lot when we're in the basement arguing with each other over discs. Dude, I'll quit, and then the other one will say, "Yeah, I'm quitting when you quit." So we're always looking for somebody.
Well, I'll come out and play a few more tournaments if Mace comes out and plays around with me.
All right. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. So, all right, Brett. Appreciate it, dude.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Later, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brett.
Cheers.
That dude could have a life on radio, I think, or even TV if he wanted it.
Yes. Yeah. Could listen to him tell stories for a long time. But then again, I say that about every guest you have on here. It doesn't matter who it is. I could just sit back and it's fun to hear about the old days.
That's absolutely the beauty of this thing is when you get somebody on here and they get going and you just, like you said, you just sit back and you listen, you let them go where they want to go, and so much fun. So much fun. I'm glad we've got, I don't even know if 36 is the right number, Jordan. We had a whole bunch with Gerber, and then we had a bunch on Lucas's Disc and Deals page. And I feel like I've made multiple 33s and 32s, so I probably screwed it up. But 3 years is about right, I think.
Yeah, it is, because I think I was one of the first ones. I would maybe guess 3 or so, and that would have been about 3 years. So
it would have been after you won it. So, all right, dude. Well, I gotta go. Got to go to bed. I got to go to work tomorrow. So
I
cool.
hear you. Well,
thanks everybody that hung out and watched and took it in with us. We'll see you next month. If you have somebody you want us to try to get a hold of and get them on here, please get me in touch with them. We'll bring them on and see what they have to say. So later on.
See you.